Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is the Mayor of Thunder Bay, Keith Hobbs. Welcome back, Keith.
Thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure.
We were just talking about the Ring of Fire, and I had to cut you off. So there's some strategies that the city is moving forward on?
Well, yeah, when we went down in 2011 to meet with Minister Shirelli, who is the infrastructure minister, and part of his portfolio was obviously the northern infrastructure for the Ring of Fire. And I said, what is the government's plan for the Ring of Fire? And he said, well, what's your plan? Pardon me, I didn't know that municipalities were supposed to come up with provincial plans, but if you want one, we'll do one. So we did one. We did a mining readiness strategy in 2011, and we teamed up with NOMA, and Northwest Ontario Municipal Association. One of our best partners was Fort William First Nation in that as well. And we signed a declaration of commitment with Fort William First Nation to work together on things like that. And it was a expensive study, and we're ready for the Ring of Fire. We've looked at all housing, you name it, workforce, things like that, and a great partnership. And that was evident, I think, when we raised the flag, Fort William First Nation flag at City Hall. That was a historic moment for this city, and recognizing that for over 150 years they've been our closest partner and neighbor, and it's high time that we got together on strategies for economic development, and we're doing that in a big way too. So I was really proud of that moment, and together, all of us together, lobbying. I think hopefully next year's an election for the province, and there'll be some movement before that. They need it. They need the Ring of Fire because they're in trouble with the energy piece.
So this has always been an area of real interest to me, is once again that balancing piece around our natural resources and energy. I know I saw you speak last year in opposition of the Energy East pipeline, expressing environmental concerns and really protection for our water. And we know Ring of Fire mining is oftentimes a big risk as well for our water and environmental concerns. In the planning, the mining readiness strategy, are some of those issues dealt with? Are we looking at some of those balances? I mean, I hear our Prime Minister go, our job is to get the resources to market. Well, that may be part of the job, but it's also to protect the citizens and ensure that those citizens benefit in a real way, in terms of that resource extraction.
So, Steve, I was a past chair of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative, and I'm on that board, and to me that's my most important board that I sit on, the protection of Lake Superior and all the Great Lakes. It's fresh water for 25 to 30 million people, and without water you don't have life.
Exactly.
So there's nothing more important than that. And the pipeline, I did come out in opposition because the powers that be have not told me how they're going to protect significant waterways, or even what a significant waterway is. Could I have my mind changed? Possibly, because I'm not looking at how am I going to say it, whether we should be extracting oil and we should be shipping it. That's not uppermost in my mind. What's uppermost in my mind is water. So until someone can tell me that they're going to protect those water sources and that Great Lake that we have out there, I can't support it. And I know I'm at odds with other politicians and most of my counsel on that, but that's where I stand, and I'm taking a stand on it. And I think it's an important stand. We have so many challenges with the Great Lakes. It's just unbelievable. And again, without it, what are your kids and your grandchildren going to be drinking?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Clean air and clean water. Yeah. Without those, no matter how many jobs we have or how much money we make, we're all going to have a poorer life as a result.
We look out that lake and the sleeping giant, we so take it for granted, and we have to stop taking it for granted because it's in danger. There's so many forces coming at it, whether it be microbeads or invasive species or algae blooms, which are huge again, and we have to constantly be on guard and vigilant.
I mean, so much of my questioning has been around the balancing of priorities for the city, mm-hmm. and one of the priorities for the city is infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you talked, I know in the last show, a lot about how expensive that is. How much of our budget ends up going to infrastructure?
It's huge. We've spent since the last term, since I was re-elected in 2014, I believe it was $300 million on roads, bridges, and culverts, and storm sewers, and it's a huge part of our budget. And we've increased that. In 2011, we started the enhanced infrastructure renewal plan, and putting extra dollars into it. And I think you're seeing the results of it. People always complain about the roads in Thunder Bay. You know what? And I don't want to build roads to nothing or nowhere. I want to build roads to something and somewhere. We can have all the beautiful roads in the world, but if you don't have an event center or an art gallery or a community auditorium or a beautiful hospital or a university at the end of those roads, what are we here for? So it's a big push for us. It's probably number one with people, and you see it. You see Balmoral, you see Golf Links, Junot Corridor, you see May Street, Cumberland Street, Valley Street. We put in so many dollars, and we are improving it. But yeah, people have to realize we live in 40 below weather, and then look at the warm weather now. That's going to cause a lot of potholes when it gets cold, and then it warms up real quick, and it's a constant challenge. I like to always go back to I had the 5 mayors together, North Bay, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, and Thunder Bay. And the other 4 mayors said to me, "Your roads are golden." And I said, "Oh, great. Tell my people that." Because I don't hear that. They can always
be better. That's the problem.
They can, yeah.
And that's even a day-to-day thing.
Yeah. But even like Valley Street was close to $3 million. It's a beautiful 4-lane road now with trees on either side and nice new sidewalks. But $1.7 million equates to 1% tax increase. So do the math. It's very expensive work. And
another part of the budget and the deliberations is some of those soft areas. Some of the more social and preventative costs. I was speaking to someone in administration recently who said it took an hour to approve a $50,000 expense in the budget deliberations for kind of that social aspect, where we come to spend millions and millions on roads, and it just take minutes. Mm-hmm. And you kind of go, how does this work? How are our priorities here? We all want roads for sure, but there's another part that's so important as well. And how do we establish kind of percentages beforehand and say we always need to have 10% in terms of soft costs, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, a prime example was last week at City Council. We had the cultural and community grants come forward, and I was at odds with the rest of my council. We're giving $2 million to culture, and we're spending about less than $700,000 on community, i.e. shelter house, clothing, depots and things like that. And I said, we got to get this in balance. And so I got shot back at me, well, those arts and cultures bring so many dollars into the community, with tourism dollars or whatever. And I'm saying, well, if you don't take care of the homeless and the poor, those costs are going to grow exponentially. So it's the same argument.
We're going to have to stop there, Keith. Yeah. We're out of time. My gosh, we could go on for hours.
I know.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Remind people that check out our Facebook page, Community Conversations, and stay safe until we see you next time.